a quiet morning in September 1994, 62 children were outside for mid-morning recess at the Ariel School in Rua, Zimbabwe. The teachers were inside attending a staff meeting, leaving the broad red dirt playground under the supervision of the older students. The air was still, and the surrounding bushland was calm under the hot sun. Nothing about the day suggested anything unusual was about to happen on the school grounds. Without warning, the quiet air was broken by 3 metallic disc-shaped craft gliding over the tree line. The objects moved without engine noise, floating down toward an uncultivated area just beyond the playground fence. Smaller silver shapes appeared to hover over the scrubland before one settled directly onto the ground. The sudden arrival caused immediate stillness across the playing field, as dozens of young eyes locked onto the trees. The children gathered along the wooden fence line, watching the silent object rest among the bushes. Within moments, a small non-human entity appeared on top of the craft, moving with swift, unnatural motions. Shortly after, a second entity emerged from the tall grass, stepping toward the fence line where the students stood watching. The physical presence of these visitors was unmistakable to everyone standing in the quiet yard. The entities were described as short figures dressed in tight black suits with pale skin and strikingly large black eyes. They moved across the rough dirt without taking normal steps, appearing to glide or teleport short distances across the brush. The children observed these movements in near silence, frozen by the strange visual rhythm of the figures. Each child watched the same sequence unfold from their own distinct position along the perimeter. As the entities stood near the brush, several children felt a powerful rush of images enter their minds without spoken words. They described receiving vivid mental scenes of environmental destruction, ocean pollution, and a warning about the future of the planet. The experience was not heard through the ears, but felt as an immediate, heavy knowing that filled the children with deep sadness and intense fear. When the craft suddenly departed back into the clear sky, the silence shattered into crying and chaotic panic across the playground. Teachers rushed outside to find dozens of hysterical children trying to explain what they had just seen beyond the fence. The adults initially dismissed the claims as simple childhood imagination or a silly game gone wrong. However, the sheer volume of frightened, weeping students quickly proved that something real had occurred. Within 24 hours, local researchers and news reporters arrived at the Ariel School to document the event. The school headmaster asked the children to sit in separate rooms and draw exactly what they had seen without talking to one another. The resulting drawings showed an extraordinary level of consistency, depicting the exact same silver saucer, black outfits, and oversized oval heads. 60 distinct hands produced visual evidence that lined up across every detail. Investigative journalist Tim Leach arrived on the scene to record early interviews with the young witnesses. He found children who were visibly shaken, describing the non-human visitor with precise details and consistent emotional distress. The reports were not exaggerated or filled with excitement, but carried the quiet weight of genuine shock. The consistency of their testimony defied the normal patterns of child storytelling. The setting of the sighting made the consistency even more puzzling to outside investigators. In rural Zimbabwe in 1994, these children had minimal exposure to Western television, science fiction movies, or popular culture tropes about craft and non-human visitors. Yet their descriptions matched classic global reports with incredible precision. They described things they had never read about or seen on screen. Word of the mass witness event reached Harvard Medical School, catching the attention of eminent psychiatrist Dr. John Mack. As a Pulitzer Prize-winning clinician, Dr. Mack specialized in human trauma and psychological evaluation. He traveled to Zimbabwe with a team of researchers to conduct direct clinical interviews with the Ariel School students. His goal was to test if mass hysteria or social pressure could explain the event. Dr. John Mack spent days sitting across small wooden desks, speaking to the children individually about their experience. He applied standard clinical protocols designed to catch lying, exaggeration, or psychological confusion. Instead of finding signs of fantasy, he found clear markers of genuine emotional trauma. The children spoke with quiet conviction, matching their body language and tone to the painful reality of what they saw. During these interviews, the children did not alter their stories under deep pressure or leading questions. They maintained the exact same core narrative, whether speaking to their parents, their teachers, or world-class scientific experts. Dr. Mack concluded that these children were describing a real, physical event that had occurred in front of their eyes. He publicly stated that the psychological evidence pointed toward an authentic encounter. Physical examinations of the scrubland area where the craft rested revealed subtle clues left in the environment. Observers noted compressed vegetation and unusual marks on the dry dirt where the entities had stepped. While official military investigations were muted, local records confirmed that multiple adults in neighboring towns had reported strange lights in the sky during the exact same week. The playground event was not an isolated incident in the region. When mass sightings occur, skeptics often point to social contagion, where one person's panic spreads and creates false memories in others. But social contagion typically leads to wildly varied details as rumors spread through a crowd. At the Ariel School, the small details remained locked in place across dozens of individual interviews. The physical shapes, the sequence of movement, and the emotional messages were identical. The investigation into the Ariel School encounter challenges the standard dismissal of mass witness reports as simple optical illusions. When 60 independent observers record the same physical facts at close range, the event moves beyond personal opinion into verifiable observational evidence. The data collected in Rua represents one of the most complete witness dossiers in the history of UAP research. As the years passed, the children of Ariel School grew into adults, moving to different cities and countries around the world. Many of them avoided speaking publicly about the incident to protect their personal and professional lives from ridicule. Yet whenever researchers located these grown witnesses decades later, their accounts remained completely unchanged. They recalled the morning in 1994 with the same vivid clarity they had as children. Adult witnesses interviewed 30 years later still recall the terrifying sense of communication from the non-human entity. They speak not with nostalgic excitement, but with the sober tone of people who carry a heavy, unwanted truth. The persistent consistency of their stories over a lifetime eliminates the possibility that the event was a forgotten childhood prank. The memory has stayed anchored in their minds without fading. The response from official government bodies and scientific institutions was largely silent, treating the event as an uncomfortable anomaly. Without physical metal fragments or official radar logs released to the public, mainstream science struggled to categorize the event. Yet the human data, preserved through audio, video, and clinical notes, remains fully intact. The records stand as an unresolved challenge to standard models of reality. The Ariel School incident forces an examination of how humanity processes evidence of non-human intelligence. When physical sensors are absent, the human mind becomes the primary recorder of anomalous events. The consistency found among 60 young witnesses in Zimbabwe suggests that human observation, under proper clinical scrutiny, can provide clear evidence of unexplained phenomena. The silent encounter in the scrubland of Rua shifts the focus of UAP research from distant lights in the sky to direct interactions on the ground. It highlights a moment where the boundary between human life and an unknown presence dissolved in daylight. The physical reality of that morning remains defined by the quiet truth held by those who stood at the fence line. The legacy of the 1994 sighting rests not on wild claims, but on the enduring strength of consistent testimony. Dr. John Mack and other researchers preserved a snapshot of an encounter that defies easy explanation. The drawings, audio recordings, and clinical files remain accessible. serving as a benchmark for evaluating future mass witness cases around the globe. Today, the red dirt playground at Ariel School looks much like it did decades ago, surrounded by the same quiet African bush. Yet the event that unfolded there continues to ripple through the fields of psychology and aerial phenomenon studies. It remains a case where truth was recorded not by instruments, but by the shared vision of 60 clear eyes. The investigation into the Ariel School incident stands as a powerful reminder of how much remains unknown about our world. The evidence gathered in 1994 offers a rare, high-consistency look into an encounter with non-human intelligence. Until science can fully account for what those children saw, the event in Zimbabwe will remain one of the most compelling mysteries of modern history.